This is Ruben Vos here at the South by Southwest Interactive Festival. He just talked about how the internet is influencing Dutch politics, and I gather the talk was well received. You're a creative director of an agency there, so you're seeing what's happening. What's going on with the internet in the Netherlands?
Well, why the Netherlands is particularly interesting is because we're a country that's really small. It fits 16 times in a state like Texas, but we have a because of that we have a high internet penetration through the whole country, and because of that also social networks are really huge. We have our own social network besides Facebook and Twitter, which are also pretty huge, and that has, for example, 9 million users in a country with just over 16 million people. So there's a cross-section of our population is actually active on these social networks, and because of that, besides that, we also have we have a multi-party political system. So we have, even in Parliament, we have around 10 parties in Parliament, all trying to get this attention of this average Dutch guy who is on the web.
Now, how much success are they having getting the attention? I mean, how much are citizens participating using these tools?
It is quite successful. It's also successful in influencing media. In my talk, I actually got cases that were a little bit beyond social media. I didn't only talk about social media. I also talked about tools that were actually online that helped Dutch voters in giving them advice on what they should vote based on what their standpoint was about certain topics. That was one of the things I did.
Okay.
Because in the Netherlands you have a tool called Vote Smarter, which is actually used by 1/3 of the electorate every election, and that gives a voting advice. You should vote this because we have so many political parties to vote on.
So that's a third's not a small amount of the electorate to be using these things. To what extent is the government itself paying attention to what people are saying online, and how are they dealing with the really thorny issues like identifying who's saying it?
The government is actually still seeking a lot. For last year we helped the administration to think of how they should communicate online, and we did a whole broad vision how it should be, and it still isn't what we advised by then, but it takes time for them to get all the politicians motivated to also work this way. It's slowly growing, but I think you have to act quick and just really start joining conversations online. I think that's really important.
How many Dutch politicians are participating online themselves? How much are they using the tools?
Well, if you only look to Parliament, so just all the political parties in Parliament, we have 150 seats in Parliament. 90 out of the 150 seats are actually active on Twitter. I think that's quite high, and it even caused that, for example, at the last national elections last year, that our biggest TV channel not only did a national election debate on TV and on radio, but they also did it on Twitter, which actually caused that 7 out of 10 worldwide trending topics were actually about that Dutch debate at that moment. So it's huge in the Netherlands.
There's also, I heard about the increasing use of open data there. Specifically, I heard about apps for Amsterdam. Is the use of government data by developers something that's growing there? Is it of use to citizens at all?
Yeah, we actually really look up to America still, but we try to. I think people try to. We're trying to keep up now. You have an initiative. It's called Hack the Government. Okay. I think even partly funded by the government, and they just put a lot of people together and say, well, we got this data and this data, and then all the programmers all make something nice out of it, like an iPhone app, or I was just saying an example. Also different kind of sources, like they also made a tool that you could see what kind of status updates politicians deleted from their account. So you call it like bloopers of politicians on Twitter. All this kind of stuff emerged from that. But like real good open data government, they're actually working on that now, but it hasn't reached a level like it's in the United States yet.
Okay. For people who want to learn more online about what's happening in your country, where should they turn?
That's maybe actually quite difficult because there's a lot of Dutch blogs that
Sure,
are covering
yeah,
that.
it's natural,
There aren't
yeah.
a lot of.
Is the Dutch blogosphere pretty active?
It is okay.
It is okay.
It is okay. But you'll find a lot of Dutch blogs. You more find Dutch blogs about these topics. If you want to learn more about Dutch politics, there's actually Peter Paul Koch. PPK is actually a former South-West speaker, and he normally writes about JavaScript. And he wrote a whole blog. He worked for months on that to explain Dutch politics to foreigners. Actually.
Great, sure.
That's quite funny.
Yeah, well, the more information sharing about what's working and what isn't, the more people can actually learn and get to a better place. So I appreciate you sitting down and talking to me a bit here.
Yeah.
And as everyone listening or watching can hear, there's certainly no shortage of people talking to each other here as well. So thank you very much. And if people want to follow you, that's at Ruben Vos right there. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And I'll see you online.
Cool, see ya.